I'm in Monte Carlo. I've gone for a walk to get some air because I just interviewed Yves Piaget, the man himself. If you have any interest in watches, you must watch this video. Yves is a walking, talking, laughing, brilliant time machine. Watch this video, trust me. Yves Piaget, just think about it for a moment. Your father invented the 9p movement, one of the slimmest mechanical movements ever created at 2 millimeters. Your grandfather supplied movements to the greatest watch brands in the world as a slim movement manufacturer. And your great-grandfather started a little company called Piaget. Can you imagine the pressure that Yves Piaget was under to leave his mark? What is Yves to do? I'll tell you what he's to do. He invented Piaget's first sports watch, the Piaget Polo. I have so many questions. Let's go and ask one of the living legends of watchmaking all these questions and more, and roses, and celebrities, and Roger Moore. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monaco. I'm sitting, I feel like a television breakfast show host. I'm sitting here with the CEO of Piaget, Mr. Benjamin Comar, and the man himself, Mr. Yves Piaget. Gentlemen, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here too, and welcome in Monte Carlo.
Oh my goodness. So this is like the first warm day in like 6 months for me. So I'm just soaking this all up. This is the most Monaco scene possible. And I'm actually nervous because this man right to my left here, as well as this man here, but particularly Mr. Yves Piaget, is a living legend of watchmaking. Yves Piaget is the 4th generation of the Piaget family. And I think you play an absolutely enormous role in building this brand to what it is known as today, which is a household name. If we just do a little wrist check around the room right now, we're all wearing watches from your era, sir. And I want to talk about that, but let's do a wrist check. I am very lucky because you walked in, Mr. Piaget, and said, "Is that yours?" How did you get that?
Yeah.
This is the new Piaget Polo reissue, which is notoriously hard to get, which is why it caught your eye. It is the first production of this is already sold out. So look, that's a good place to start. I'd like to know what you're wearing, and also you, Mr. Comar.
I wear the original Polo,
Yes.
Piaget Polo, in a square shape and with an onyx dial.
Oh.
And that's in white and yellow gold.
And this is from the original release
And
of the Polo in 79.
that's the original design and the original first series.
Yes. And why, you mentioned to me off camera, which is always a bad idea. We should do everything on camera. But you said to me, this is your favorite Polo. Why is that?
Yeah, because of course the Polo was like my baby, I say, because that was the important step of my generation, of the 4th generation, to make out of this family name Piaget a brand,
Yes.
an international brand, and the Polo was one of the most important steps, really developing the image, developing the name, but not the name, but the brand internationally. Our agent wanted an anti-Rolex.
An anti-Rolex.
That was
This is an anti-Rolex because
yeah, because really that's a sport-looking watch, but in very high quality, in very high standard, with noble materials, gold and platinum only,
Yes.
and with an extra flat movement. So that was something very exclusive, and the design this design is really, I would say, a bracelet, a watch in a bracelet. Not a watch with a bracelet, but a bracelet and a watch inside of it.
yes,
It's completely integrated.
it's fully integrated.
And the same
the
for the
gadrooms go
round
through
one.
the dial.
And that was the the plus, I would say, of that watch at that time.
You know what? That is the longest wrist check answer I've ever had. And I'm absolutely going to let that fly because what a story from Mr. Piaget. The hype started coming on this watch last year. Tell me why that is your choice today. It looks fabulous.
It is my choice. It's a watch that we call the Warhol because it was worn by Andy Warhol. It's a 1973 watch. Yves is just saying that it was a dress watch, but it's much more cooler than a dress watch. I mean, I think it was very dareful to do a watch so strong with this design, which is between a TV, a piece of jewelry as itself. So I'm really crazy about this watch, and our collectors love it, and I think they're right. So it's a nice compliment with the two watch you wear, gentlemen.
And look, I'm the fourth product of the 70s here because I was born in 1976. But I want to ask you a question, Mr. Piaget. What is it about the 70s that we're yearning for? Because we have four products. Are you from the 70s as well? Were you born in the 70s?
I was 69, so
69,
I was not too old in the 70s.
But there is a lot of desire, a lot of attraction to the 70s, the lifestyle, the flamboyance, the hedonism. But in your view, why are we becoming re-obsessed with the 70s design in 2024?
Yeah, the 70s were really the years of creativity and of extravaganza. Really, our designers enjoyed very much to be at that particular period where everything was possible. And so our collection was very wide, very large, but we had a miss. That was the sport watch, and that's why we worked on that. And that watch has a very, very special design that was not imitated. And also at that time, we were really among the first watchmakers manufacturing electronic quartz movements.
Yes.
And for America, I mean, quartz movement and really exclusive design as that was right in the target.
Now, you did have, obviously, this wildly creative era for Piaget in the 70s attracted a lot of fans and a lot of famous fans. Do you have any stories from the extravagant 70s that you like to think about sometimes? Like, what are the things that really stand out to you from that period, which I think could never come again? It can never happen like it happened then. But tell me about it, because there were so many names that you were associated with.
Yeah, the Polo Piaget was really in the center, in really our target at that time. And of course, it was quite a pleasure, but also quite something strong to launch it in the States, and having named Polo, the king of sports, the sport of kings, gave us the opportunity to meet a lot of people who really wanted the polo.
Yes.
A lot of people came in our boutiques all around the world asking for the polo, even without knowing really that it was Piaget behind the polo.
It was bigger than the brand.
They asked for the polo.
More than Piaget himself.
More than Piaget himself.
Yeah.
So that was really something very strong, very important.
And if we talk about the people attracted to this watch, we had Roger Moore, we had Ursula Andrews, we had Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
You know, were any of these personal friends of yours, and do you have personal memories of these people?
Yeah, these people, I mean, this relationship with these people was just a question of friendship, by chance. And I did not know how famous was Andy Warhol when I met him.
Really?
No, really, I met a famous guy, but I did not know how popular and how exceptional he was. We met, of course, on the polo field, and he was crazy about that watch too. And he bought one of these, even maybe several of these, and I had the opportunity to spend some time with him. And Andy Warhol became like a friend. But of course, today I regret not having saved some paintings or whatever,
Change the watches for paintings.
or even designs
Yeah.
from him.
Yes.
But I didn't, and I haven't not one painting, not one sketch of him. But Andy Warhol was a very fancy guy, of course.
Yes.
It was not so easy to be with him and to have him even in a party or whatever. He was very, very, very special. Okay, that's his strengths, and that was that is maybe the most important painter artist of the 20th century.
Yes. And look, I think Jack Heuer gets a lot of credit for being the first to bring ambassadors to a watch brand. And of course, Jean-Claude Biver has perfected this art later in life. But I feel that this is almost an innocent era where you attracted ambassadors that didn't need to have a contract or a payment. But how much impact did it have for Roger Moore to be wearing your watches out of love, for Andy Warhol to be ordering and buying your watches? Did it change things for you?
It started from, I would say, from nothing. Roger Moore, I met him with Sammy Davis, who was a very good friend of mine, very close friend of mine, but a friend again. I never paid anything to Sammy Davis. I didn't pay anything to Roger Moore. We were friends, and when I met them in parties where they were together, we became friends. That's all.
My dream would be to get in a time machine right now and go back to a party with you in 1970. What would be our best year? What would be the best year for me to have a party with you? 79, 80? Earlier?
No, 70, 79, 80, and then beginning of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a good time?
Yeah, and especially with the polo. The polo was really very attractive at the time. I mean, that's really, it was for us, I mean, like the right target, where people who were our customers, consumers, they were in relation, they were linked to polo. And polo was really high class and very exclusive.
Yes.
Very exclusive.
Yeah.
We organized many parties in Florida, and when we sent our invitations to our guests, they were really very proud, and they all came to our party because of Palm Beach, but because of polo. And of course, we took all this support to launch our watch.
Yes.
And that watch became very famous.
I asked some members of your family about a question that they might have for you. And I contacted your cousin Fanette Piaget.
Yeah.
And I said, Fanette, is there anything that you would like to ask? And she said, yes, there is. I would like an honest answer from you. Of course, it will be honest. You're never going to lie to me. What do you think of the edit? And this is a tough question for Mr. Comar, the CEO, to be listening to. What is your honest opinion about the new Piaget? Because you hold this watch so dearly. What do you think of the new one?
The polo, I mean, was and became an icon.
Mm-hmm.
An icon. And I was very pleased when Mr. Kommer came to me and said, we are going to relaunch the polo. And of course, I was enthusiastic, and I was very pleased. Mm-hmm. Because really that polo, that watch was really the icon, the legitimacy of Piaget. Mm-hmm. And that's really part of the fourth generation development. And that's part of my generation. And really the whole world knew about Piaget through that polo watch, like the Santos at Cartier, like the Royal Oak in Audemars Piguet. So the polo of Piaget is really the icon. And when again Mr. Comar came to me, I was so enthusiastic, and I would say that today I'm so pleased to see it. I just regret that we can't produce it so widely because the demand is there.
Yeah.
And I hope we would satisfy all the demand. That's the business of Mr. Komar.
I think Mr. Komar would like that too. The bottom line would like that very much. But let's talk about the design details, because I know for a fact, I've done a little bit of digging on Mr. Komar as well. This was not a simple process for you. So can you please, I'm going to pass this across to Mr. Komar, but tell me, why did it take you 6 years to reproduce the polo when, I mean, to my eyes, it looks fairly faithful, but what were the details that took so long?
Because it took a bit less than 6 years. It took 2.5 years.
Okay.
The design was not easy to do for several reasons. What was modern at the time is to do a quartz watch. What is modern now is to do an automatic watch, which is basically the reverse from what happened in the world. So the size as well, I mean, a bigger watch than before. So we review everything of it. And we didn't produce a polo for 20, 30 years. So we wanted to redesign everything with the know-how and the features for how to make the link together, which is the same technique that it was used at the time, but as well feature automatic movement with a transparent back, with obviously a folding buckle. We're happy to be faithful to the original design, and I was very scared when I showed it to Yves.
Tell me through that day.
Really like it,
yeah,
or not?
Tell me about
and,
that.
He says really the truth every time. So I was like very nervous, and he seems to like it, and so some.
Did you like the first draft?
Oh yes, I did like it. Of course, there was a few changes.
Tell me the changes.
From the original.
Tell me about the changes.
First, the movement is not the same.
Yeah.
We had an electronic quartz movement, and then we put an automatic one. Again, very flat, and now the movement they choose for the new polo is a little bit thicker. That's what I personally may regret. Yeah. But it makes the watch very massive. And that's what I like in that watch. And the design is the same. The way of working on gold, I mean, our goldsmiths really do work very well on that watch. And it's a nice piece, and I'm so happy to see it again.
Let's talk about quartz in 1979, because now people look at quartz from this side of the 70s as something potentially negative. It's something cheap. It's something that threatened the Swiss watchmaking industry. But in 1979, it was not perceived that way. Tell me, when you're deciding to make this an electronic quartz movement, is quartz a desirable technology at this time? That would have made this a selling point.
Yeah.
Because now we look at it and think it's a negative. Back then it was a positive.
I mean, the electronic quartz movement was something outstanding and quite innovative in the watches industry. And so we were just a few manufacturers to be interested and to follow and to invest in this new technology. So my uncle and my father decided to involve themselves in this new technology. So we were part of a very high performance laboratory, and we developed some movements with the quartz technology. That was the first flat electronic movement that we launched personally, I mean, with Piaget. So in Piaget, at a certain time, we had almost half of our watchmakers who were mechanical watchmakers and half of our watchmakers who were electronicals. That was really quite a change, quite an evolution. And I would say that United States, for instance, Japan, then followed, and they absolutely wanted to have a quartz movement on their watch. I mean, that watch is really going so accurately,
yes,
and without touching it. It was an advantage.
Another thing you didn't have to worry about. My last question is not about watches. It is about what surrounds us on these tables. It's about flowers.
Flowers, yes.
The Yves Piaget rose, I believe, is the most famous garden rose ever bred. This is on multiple sources are claiming that the Yves Piaget rose is the most famous garden rose ever bred. If I had one right here and I was smelling it, describe what the fragrance is of your rose and tell me, how does one get a rose named after them? What does it smell like? I don't know if I must have smelled one.
It smells very strongly, part of fruit.
Yep.
And very fresh, very cool. I would say that it's not too sweet, a sweet fragrance, but a very strong one. And I know the great-grandfather of my rose, which smelled so much and so strongly.
Mm-hmm. So the simple question then to finish this interview is, are you prouder to be named, for a rose to be named after you, or to have invented the Piaget Polo? You have to choose one. You can't tell me both. I will not accept both. Rose or watch?
No doubt, it's the watch.
Well, look, it has been such an honor to speak to the man himself about a watch that is taking the world by storm, about a brand that is capitalizing on this atmosphere from the 70s that we all seem to crave again, which is flamboyance, which is color, which is materials, which is precious stones, precious metals, creativity. So what a joy to speak to you, and what a man of so many talents. Roses, watches, celebrity friends. This is a man I've waited a long time to meet, and I look forward to talking to you tonight at the event. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm a little bit shy. I'm sorry.
And thank you, Benjamin, for putting up with me asking all the
I
questions.
didn't get you.